Okay, so we're just arriving back at the DRC. This will probably be the most some of you have ever seen of it. This is the entrance. This is where the vehicles live. That's where the humans live. We're going to jump into Rusty, get the vehicle, get the camera on, and be out with Jamie searching for these wild dog. Hopefully it won't take us too long. We'll see you guys shortly.
A quick behind-the-scenes tour of our lives at Juma from Scotty there. We're still busy on our Ferrari safari, trying to figure out, see, I think I can smell them. Either they started here or they're still around. Wild dogs carry a very, very distinctive scent, very much like a dirty dog. I've quite often found them by smell first, and then started looking around for them, especially in times where I don't expect to see them. What an unexpected turn to the morning. Who would have thought that we would be sitting at the hyena den and the wild dogs came racing through? It's surreal. And moments like this make life in the bush so unexpected and so exciting. I know that our regular viewers are very familiar with the fact that things can change so fast out here. There you go. Gotcha. Hello, munchkins. What you been up to, pups? Our stations have relocated these Madach on the short, just to the north of Gallagher Pan. Awesome. Hello, pups. Right, I wonder who we've got here. They've got something. They've been on a kill. What you got there? Piece of meat. One of them's got a tuft of grass coming through. Oh, hello. Hi. Yeah, how cool is that? So close to the car, completely comfortable with us, dashing about with what is just a patch of grass, playing a game of catch. So cool. Now tug of war. Hello, Steve and Jenny. Steve and Jenny, we watch in France. It's been a while since I've heard from you guys. I'm glad you're back on board with us. And you were wondering what the story is behind the Investec pack name. Investec is a financial institution in South Africa, and from what I understand, they sponsor the research that's being done. Look at this. Stalemate. One of the pups coming to investigate. A little female by the looks of it. And now tugging away. The one on the left is slightly bigger. Sorry, Steve and Jenny. It's, as far as I understand, yes, they sponsor the research into these wild dogs. There's a lot of wonderful organizations that help to safeguard them. Oh, coming in, three-way tug of war. Bull, bull. Like puppies. Turn on the virtual reality rig. I heard we can capture this in a 360-degree view. So that's what the beeping is going to be about. That's the ball of GoPros. What you up to, guys? Where are your parents? I wonder which pack this is. Oh. The incredible thing about being surrounded by wild dog pups like this is that you get to enjoy the most fantastic interaction and watch that loyalty and the social bonds that they all demonstrate. It's fascinating to see. Now I'm going to hazard a guess here. And I'm going to say that this is the Sands pack. Now the reason I'm mentioning that, And I'm going to shift around so that you have a better view, since they seem to be settling in that corner. The reason I'm saying that is because these pups are mostly females. Now, as you know, I don't know the exact counts of the Investic Pack pups. Hello? You coming up to say hello? So cool. Curiosity. With those big radar ears, giving us a good solid look. One of the pups all around. So fascinating. I drove this road first thing this morning. Having a pee in the road. But yes, I was saying I think this might be the Sands pack. And the reason that I say that is because there's more female pups in this group than I've seen in the Investic group. I haven't got an exact breakdown for the Investic pups, but I suggested that it was somewhere in the region of about 9 males to 2 females. Either way, I've seen at least 4 females wandering around with this particular group of pups. I would not be surprised. I could, of course, be completely wrong. You never know. This is one of the male pups. Nice full belly. So they've munched on something. While we were sitting at the hyena den, their parents had already killed and eaten something. What a treat this morning has been. Excitement from the beginning. See that white flash of the tail. That one of the adults has also now made an appearance at the back right there. Awesome news is that Scott is on his way, so we'll be able to make sure we don't lose them. This block is famous for scuppering the efforts of all kinds of presenters, whether it's looking for Karula or finding wild dogs. This block is built from dense vegetation. Okay, I can move forward a little bit now. Didn't want to scare any of the pups. Oh, quick link to Scott, who has one of the adults.
Well, this is one adult who's obviously been hunting, and he's making his way back to you and Jamie at the Gallagher Waterhole. We're in the vehicle, and we have joined in the wild dog chaos with you guys. Hold on tight. I'm not too sure. We're not too far away from the link road to the Gallagher Waterhole, where that wild dog is heading back to. So, be in that area shortly. Well done to Jamie for finding them again. That's awesome stuff. And now that we've got 2 vehicles in the area, there's a much greater likelihood that we're going to be able to keep with them, leapfrogging ahead as they move at incredible speeds through Juma. But Jamie's in a better position now, so we're going to send you back to her.
We've just shifted up ever so slightly to get closer to the resting pile of puppies lying in the shade at the back here. And they've already had a very, very busy morning, that we can guarantee. But they're up and starting to move, it looks like in Scott's direction. And now the games begin as they start to move into this dense block. I really want to be able to see them all as a group so we can figure out who they are, if it's the Investic pack or if it's the Sands pack. The pups lingering behind there. She stopped to... Oh, there's one coming up towards us from the right as well. I love watching them move. That agility is just incredible. Ooh, smelly creatures. And you can see why they are one of the most incredible animals to watch. And it sounds as though they're on their way to Scott. Let's pop over to him.
So, welcome back. We've got a few members of the pack running straight towards us now. And I wonder who it is. It's so difficult to tell. The pups of the Investec pack are getting quite big now. So, hard to say what's what, but I think it looks like it's mainly pups and just 3 adults that I can see so far. What we need to look out for is one of the big males who's got very distinctive notches in his ear or ears. So that will be a good sign to tell us whether it's the Sands pack or the Investec pack, but I'm guessing it's the Investec pack of 3 adults and 11 pups. There's Jamie, and at this stage we can only both really head towards Gallagher Shortcut. It's a tricky area for both of us to work with the pack for now, but definitely worthwhile that we are both here, because as you've seen, they change direction and move at great speeds. Okay. Shell in Detroit at the moment, we're probably only about 400 meters away from the hyena den, quarter of a mile, but we are moving slowly away from it. So I'm just going to let Jamie know that I've done quite a big loop ahead. Jamie, I've looped all the way around onto Gallagher Shortcut now, just to let you know.
Copy. I'm trying to keep visual from my side as long as I can.
And Jamie's done the exactly correct thing. She has stayed with them for as long as possible. She probably just intuitively worked out what I was doing, and she's kept an eye on them for as long as possible, as you may have heard. Copy. Thanks, Jamie. Forgot to acknowledge your radio comms there. And they are heading towards us. I'm guessing they're going to pop out somewhere here. But to off-road for them in this area will be very, very tricky, so I think we just need to be patient. Here they come, they're in here, and they're moving kind of parallel to the road for now, somewhere off in here. I did get a glimpse of one.
Yeah, I'm living in this feeling.
Wicked Blues, and you would like to know what would happen if the Sands pack and the Investec pack bumped into one another. It's a great question, especially because we're not sure which pack we are with at the moment. Wicked Blues, I'm sure the Investec pack would quite easily overpower and chase the Investec pack away. The reason for that is that there's 10 or 11 adults within the Sands pack, so I think I said Investec pack twice there. There's one adult that's running through here somewhere. There you go. Well done, Wium.
Yeah, I'm only you've got me like a dead and wobble.
But they're kind of sniffing around a bit. Backwards and forwards. So difficult to forecast what we should do now. Wicked Blues Band, apologies for not focusing entirely on your question there. With all this excitement, I'm trying to obviously think about what to do as well as to answer your question. But wild dogs will fight. Like most predators that aren't from the same pride or group, there's massive competition between them. But I've never actually seen a skirmish between wild dogs. Looks like the rest are slowly approaching this individual. You'll start seeing a few more shapes. I wonder if they've had a successful morning hunting. It doesn't look like it. There would be a reddish tinge around their mouths and necks. So that's good prospects for us. We could get lucky and see them continue to search for a meal. And we do have visual of them coming straight towards us. I'm not too sure where Jamie's going to go, but she can do whatever she... So it sounds like she's going to do a massive loop around, which is a good call. I'm just getting relayed info from Nikki in the final control. And yeah, they seem to be gathering a little bit more momentum. Kevin Catfish, you've made an observation that Peter is not in his pan, the hippo Peter. It appears like there could be two Peters, Kevin. As I'm sure you are aware, we saw two hippos in this area, or in the area of the pan, just a couple of days back. So that's also important to remember. It's not just one hippo that's lurking around, Juma. It's two, and you'd like to know what would happen if this pack came across him. Probably not too much, Kevin. They would probably maybe give a little bit of interest to it. Maybe he would run off, nervous of them, but he's far too big a prey item for them to take seriously. And if anything, it would just be the pups playing around. So I don't think we'd... You wouldn't believe it. Jamie's found the rest of the pack, and it seems to be the Sands pack. Awesome.
And there we go. How incredible is that? We were right about it being the Sands pack. This is the rest of the adults moving through on their way to where Scott is now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them that were split off from the main group of pups. Now the Sands pack at last count from our side numbered about 21 dogs. As far as I know, 10 of those were pups. The rest of them are adults. Excuse me. All that racing around has put dust on my nose. I'm going to try and stay with them so that we can see the moment where they reunite with the rest of the pack. You're absolutely right. The wild dogs do have these Mickey Mouse type ears. Where on earth? They're moving so fast. They've tried to, I think we're going to have to go around to where Scott is. And Sir Richard, yes, absolutely. They can hear incredibly far. It's a way of being able to locate the other members of the group, as well as to hear prey that might have been spooked by their crazy chase through. Now, I'm not sure of the exact distance that they're able to hear, but obviously those ears are a huge amplifying system and a way of being able to detect the calls through the bush. So I would hazard a guess and say that they could hear easily around 5 or 6 kilometers, if not more. So, depending on the contact calls that they're listening to. I think we've got them here, running up along the road. Where'd they go, Tebs? There we go. They're searching for each other. There's one individual, there's the rest of the adults coming through. Well done, Tebs. So yes, they're making their way to where Scott is, and we might even, if we're really lucky, get to hear those contact calls that I was chatting about. You can see the way they're ranging, looking for the rest of the group. They're going to be approaching Scott fairly soon. So yes, about 4 or 5 kilometers that they can hear, apparently. I slightly overestimated, but not by much. You can see the way they're searching. And as they disappear towards the rest of the pack, let's go over to Scott, who's got the rest of them in the road.
Well, isn't this absolutely incredible? Wild dogs everywhere. This one's running right up to us. And I'm battling to tell who's who. This one's head, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. It's literally right here. And they're sniffing very, very intently. Who knows what it is that they're smelling or that's preoccupying them so much. But isn't it fascinating that they just carry on about their business as if we are not even here within a meter of our vehicle. Now, I take back what I said earlier. Look at this one's belly. almost wobbling from side to side. It's definitely eaten. Who knows, maybe they had a very big meal late last night, or maybe they've already fed early this morning. But they do look quite well fed. There's some playing in front of us now. And let's see what they get up to next. They're such playful animals and moving incredibly quickly. I'm thinking that these are the pups. They just seem too flawless and not quite big enough to be adults. But it is difficult to tell. And if they are pups, I think that they would have been born slightly before the pups of the Investec pack, because the Investec pack pups do seem a little bit smaller. It's a little bit easier to distinguish between the pups of the Investec pack, as I've said, compared to the Sands pack. So, I don't know what you guys think, but Wium, do you agree? A little bit easier, hey, to distinguish between the pups of the Investec pack and their adults relative to these. Carol Christie, you ask a question that I cannot answer, but it's nice for us to just think about at least. You'd like to know who would win in a battle between the wild dog and the hyena if the wild dog came across them at the den. It's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other, Christie, and it's I guess similar to saying who would win a sports game between two different teams, or who would win a boxing match between two different competitors. It is impossible to tell until, of course, the event unfolds. But let's kind of try and break it down a little bit. There's a lot of adult wild dogs in this pack, and I have seen this pack teaching a hyena a very, very important lesson, and I thought the hyena was actually going to be killed by this pack. It was in a sorry state, and even though wild dog are a lot smaller than hyena, if the numbers outbalance or outweigh their competitors, small opponents can often win. So it could go either way, and there's quite a few adults within that clan of hyena, so maybe it would be them that win. Now, it looks like the pack are heading back towards Vuyatela access. I think Jamie will still be there. Let me just check in with her. Jamie, are you still on Vuyatela access?
Yeah, I'm just about to pop out there. The rest of the adults should be coming out any moment.
Okay, copy. I'm just approaching the old hyena den access, but it looks like they may actually be heading back towards Vuyatela access from here.
Okay, copy.
So, it appears like quite a few members of the pack are moving through this block to the west, which is in the direction of where Jamie is. And Jamie did have 7 adults which were moving towards us, according to Jamie. So it could be that the pack are going to meet in between the block.
Yeah, Scott, I'm on the power lines now with the rest of the pack.
And Jamie, as you've just heard on the radio, has got the rest of the pack, so we're going to send you across to her.
Oh, this is fascinating. We've got 6 adults here. Sorry, guys, someone's just trying to get hold of me on the Game Drive channel. Scott's got it. I'm sorting that out. So the rest of the pack is here. We've been watching them, Scott and myself have been watching them search for each other. The adults are desperately trying to reunite with the rest of the pack, but what I don't understand is why they haven't contact called yet. Let's go a little bit closer. Is wanting to know, because this is such a big pack, how big a wild dog pack can get before they start to disperse. And Rianne, duck my head down so that you can have a look at what's happening here. Rianne, I've heard of wild dogs growing up to 40 individuals before, but as far as I know, that's the exception rather than the rule, and that they will start to disperse at around 15, 20. Sorry guys, hold on a moment. Oh, okay. Luckily Scott's got it again for me. Sniffing around. I wonder if this is where they made the kill. And they've moved close. They moved closer towards Gallagher for water. This is definitely the adults. 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. Now I wonder when these pups are going to start making their way through. And Donna, you're absolutely right. The Investic pack only has 3 adults within it. You're wondering how many the Sands pack has. And I have to confess, Donna, I think that it's 11, or it was 11, and that it was 10 pups. I think originally it was 11 pups, but one of them died. But Donna, I think that is roughly the number. It's either 10 or 11. And I've only ever seen them when they've been rushing about like mad things, as they so often do. So sometimes I'm unsure as to, I've never managed to get a proper count of them. They're such awesome animals. And James, you have a very valid point in terms of the numbers of the pack and the prey selection. So yes, bigger or larger dog packs would be capable of taking down larger prey. That being said, as a general overall statistic, regardless of the size of the pack, about close to 80% of their kills within the Kruger Park, so it's very area dependent, just in the same way that pack size is area dependent. But about 80% of their kills are impala, regardless of whether or not the pack is large or small. But for a pack like this, they could easily target Nyala. They tend not to go much bigger than that, but there are always exceptions to the rule. And of course, the most efficient hunters out here. So interesting watching their body language. They're searching. There we go. Here come the rest of them. At the back there. Come on, guys. Come say hello. Cautious approach. Oh, you can hear them whining in happiness. Here they come. This is going to be amazing. Listen to this. Excitement. Puppy-like excitement. They're all dashing all over the place and greeting each other so happily. You can see the joy in them in terms of being reunited with the rest of the pack. Oh, I was going to move, but I don't need to because they're coming back to us. All racing around, tails up in the air. Sheer joy at being reunited. And this is why wild dogs are such special animals. These bonds between family members are so well reinforced. A pack that rules itself not like hyenas through aggression, but through subservience and begging. That's what makes them so special. Here they come dashing along. And we're surrounded by wild dogs. Racing through. Can hear the feet thudding. Here they come. Here come the rest of them. And Keith, we've mentioned that they haven't been making much of a sound. Oh, here they go. This is going to be amazing again. This is so cool. I'm going to try and get you a visual so you can hear this. They're on their way to Scott now. He might have a better view. I'm going to send you over to Scott. Have a look from his perspective.
Wow, isn't this just fascinating? They are incredibly intent on reaffirming their bonds, making sure that everyone knows that everyone's one another's best friend, and this is a great example of just how intense the bonds are within a pack of wild dogs. And when there's this many of them, the sound and excitement is just almost too much to take in. Fascinating stuff. We've got Ephraim, who's just joined us here in the sighting. I'm just going to reposition and maybe allow him. We're going to send you back to Jamie.
We're still surrounded by the pack. They're moving all over the place like crazy things, dashing about and playing. The pups reuniting with the adults. And you could just see it in their body language, how joyful they are at being reunited. So special to see. That is what we get really excited about. This is why Scott and myself split up for this moment of the reunion, which is the best part of sitting with wild dogs, to watch that interaction happen. And Safari Dean, absolutely. It doesn't really get better than this, does it? Hyenas, wild dogs crashing the hyenas' den's party, pups everywhere, and getting to watch the comparison and the differences between the two most social of the predators out here and the ones with the most interesting social structures, and so different from each other, the hyenas and the wild dogs. Hello, little girl. You're beautiful. And this little pup is absolutely extraordinarily beautiful. Here come the rest of them. There's going to be another mass greeting involved. All the adults racing across. And I'm not sure if you can hear it, but there's still little happy squeaking sounds that they make. They are such wonderful animals. The athletes of the bush, built like streamlined, powerful hunters. And I know that many of you, it's difficult to get a bit of a scale, although now that with Scott back there, you can have a bit of an idea of exactly how big the dogs are in comparison. So let's pop over to Scott and have a look at things from his perspective.
Now, I think a lot of what's going on here is actually not only greetings, but there's also a lot of begging going on between the pups and the adults, and the pups are hoping to try and urge the adults to regurgitate some of the meat from a kill I'm guessing they made this morning. And it's interesting, some members of the pack are certainly more full-bellied than others. There's some great views of Jamie now and Tebs with all of the pack around them. So let's make the most of that. Take some screenshots. Jamie and Tebs are going to love that. Look at this. Big smile on Jamie's face. As you can see, it's also heating up, and that's why she's taking off her gear. Good. Well, that was awesome. Okay, well, it looks like the pack may well start to move now after all of their greetings. And we're going to send you across to Jamie. A third vehicle has just joined, or a fourth vehicle, so we're going to lurk back and help as a vehicle to help relocate these animals and leave Jamie with the wild dog and the two other vehicles here.
I'm going to duck my head down so that you can have a look and see what's happening here. I'm not actually sure if Scott got around to chatting about the size of the wild dogs or not. I know that we did have a question about it. So it's difficult to get a sense of scale, but the pups are quite a lot smaller than the adults still. But Coast, for Bernie, you want to know roughly how big they are, and yes, you're about right with your Border Collie comparison. Border Collies are a bit fluffier, but they are much smaller than German Shepherds. Here they come back again. You can see that greeting again. I love it. It's like they haven't seen each other in ages, not just a few seconds. This is what makes wild dogs so cool. Now, they are definitely begging the adults for access to food. You know how the adults regurgitate. And Kimby, you were wondering if the adults are feeding the pups. Well, they would have definitely munched on something at some point. And as we saw with the Investec pack a couple of weeks ago, oh, there's just wild dogs everywhere. I barely know where to look. As we saw, not a couple of weeks ago, a couple of days ago with Scott, the Investec pups are already making kills on their own. But the best part about the wild dog dynamics is the fact that the pups always come first. So within their social structure itself, they're walking right around the bonnet. This is awesome to see. They've all moved across in front of us. And yes, the pups always take preference at kills. They'll have first access to the food there. And then even more incredibly, if they approach one of the adults and beg sufficiently well, they will cause the adults to regurgitate and provide them with an extra portion of the meal. It's that selflessness that makes wild dogs such a special social creature. Yes, Paul Rizzo, absolutely. They do sound like dolphins. That squeaking that they make, and there's more coming around in order to locate each other. We go around so we can see them properly. And Jenny, absolutely, I would not be surprised if that was the case. Circling around on our left-hand side. There we go. Wild dog walking right in front of our bonnet. Now, I'm busy talking to the rig at the same time so that we can have a full 360 experience. Keep looking across to your left. They're all around us at the moment. Some of them are walking directly in front of the bonnet, almost underneath the car itself. Oh, we have been so incredibly lucky with wild dogs. And Belangi, you were wondering why the wild dogs love Juma so much. And we'd never know that they were endangered, the number of incredible sightings we've had. Please don't jinx us. We'd like to spend as much time as possible with them. And we've been so fortunate because it's only after the wild dog pups came out of the den that we were able to see sightings like this. But I think what we've been really lucky about is we've fallen right in the sort of overlay between the home ranges of both the Investec and the Sands pack. And because their pups are now old enough to run around, they're covering enormous distances. We've just so happened that a lot of time has been spent on Djuma itself. And we've got to spend as much time. And of course, that question raises a very interesting point, is that you are looking at one of the most endangered predators, one of the most endangered creatures we have on Djuma. And yes, we've seen them fairly regularly, but these 21 dogs that you've been watching this morning are 21 out of only somewhere in the region of about 194 to 197 in the Kruger National Park area. There are less than 500 of these magical creatures in South Africa. And this Kruger National Park population is one of the only viable populations within South Africa itself. And 20% of the total population of wild dogs are apparently found around Tanzania and those sorts of areas. All moving right around us. There's more coming across from our right, settling down in the shade of the termite mound. And the adults definitely are, some of them are covered in blood. They have blood on their faces, so they've munched on something. Hello, guys. And you're looking essentially, for those of you who've chatted and love grey wolves, and we spoke about them yesterday, you're essentially looking at the African equivalent of a wolf pack. And sitting so close to them, I can actually hear them breathing. I can hear them panting. Keith, absolutely. Days like today make this job not just wonderful, but extraordinary. To experience moments like this, it doesn't really get much more exciting than wild dogs running through a hyena den and then reuniting themselves with the rest of their pups. It is just the most phenomenal experience. And Keith, you want to do this job? Well, I would strongly encourage it. I think that between Tebs and myself, we might have two of the best jobs in the entire world. Long days, early mornings, and moments like this that are beyond words at times. Experiences that can't even be described. Saying that it looks like they're doing their slow hunt. Sorry, I'm going to concentrate in case there's a wild dog behind me that I can see. Obviously, don't want to scare any of them. And the pack is settled right by one of the other safari vehicles. What a magical experience that must be for them. That is so cool. Look, they're lying in the shade of that vehicle, having a sniff around the tires. Just imagine what it's like to be one of the guests on the back there and have such a close experience with the wild dogs. Using the shade of the vehicle to rest up after their morning activities. Oh, sharp canine teeth. You can see why they are such amazing predators. Check this curiosity of the one on the left. It's almost going to go underneath the car. Having a really good sniff. There's something fascinating on there. And I actually really enjoy moments like that because it comforts me in the knowledge that we're not having any kind of negative impact on them in moments like this. And in fact, we might even be contributing to their entertainment value. For such brilliantly smart and coordinated predators, the curiosity means that they need to constantly be looking and sniffing and exploring new things. For those of you with dogs like collies or Weimaraners or pointers, you'll know exactly that kind of hunting dog style of thinking. Very busy all the time. That's what makes wild dogs so special. Awesome stuff. Up again. And that is one of my favorite aspects of the wild dogs dynamic. I said that they are bound by ties of loyalty. And Erlene, you were wondering whether, because most predators will leave an injured pack member or an injured pride member behind, they don't really show any kinds of loyalty in that respect. You were wondering if wild dogs would actually come back to help injured pack members. And yes, I've even heard stories of three-legged and two-legged, in one particular case, pack members surviving purely due to the generosity of the pack itself. They really, in that respect, they are one of the most special creatures out here. They're bound by complete and utter selflessness. I wonder what they're up to. The whole pack is on the move. Some slower than others. And I've mentioned that this is the only viable population, wild dog population in South Africa. And what I mean by that is they are capable of managing themselves and dispersing in a way that therefore doesn't cause inbreeding. And Chris, you were wondering if that ever does become an issue. Now, for most of the wild dog populations within South Africa, with these packs being the exception, there is actually the potential for inbreeding. And most of the packs are in smaller private reserves, fenced reserves, which is great for them. It means they're protected. It means that we're slowly starting to bring them back to their original distribution range. But on the other hand, it means that they have to be managed. And they really do have to be managed. They can't disperse on their own because obviously they come then in closed systems. You can see how surrounded we are by wild dogs all moving across in the front of our vehicle. And Chris, absolutely, they have to be managed in a certain way so that human beings will have to dart them, bring in different populations, bring in new breeding opportunities in order to ensure that inbreeding like that doesn't happen. One last one running across the front of our car to catch up. I think they are going to pop out onto Voyatella main access. Shift forward so that we can try and stay with them for as long as possible. But never fear, if they... And while we try and stay with them from this angle, Scott's looped around and he's caught up with the adults on the road.
Well, we just had an extreme close-up view that Wium was trying to show you of this wild dog's sparkly white teeth. And we're not too far from Jamie. We're probably about 200 meters away. Now it looks like these adults are all heading back to her, actually. but we're in a very good situation. She's staying on Power Lines Road, and they kind of been moving parallel between WildEarth access, which is the road we are now, and that Power Lines Road. Interesting, I'm wondering what they're smelling. Is it possibly the Investec pack? The pack of wild dogs that has been spending more time here on Djuma than this pack has over the recent past. That's certainly possible, and I'm guessing that would make the most sense. I mean, I'm not sure what other smell would cause them to really spend so much time trying to work out what's going on, other than that of another pack of wild dogs. That would be the most concern to them, I guess, to a degree, or most interest to them. I'm just trying to work out when last the Investec pack did move through here with relation to when last it rained, because rain often washes away scents of animals. So difficult to be certain, but really interesting behavior to see nonetheless. It looks like they're now all heading back towards the road that Jamie's on, and we're going to send you across there to see how she's coming along.
The rest of them are on their way back towards us, repositioned so we can... Where are you? Every time I pick a direction to go in, they decide to go the opposite way. Just to keep you guessing, just to keep you busy. And to keep, of course, Tebs busy as well. Here they come. All dashing about, tails in the air, games happening. Where are we going to end up? It's a bit of a betting game with these guys. Or a guessing game, maybe. Hedge your bets as to which direction they're going to go in. For now, we just content ourselves with this view as they figure out which way they're going to go. That's where they're going to go. Gary Slisky, you were wondering, while we watch this pack disappear off towards Scott again, you were wondering why wild dogs are endangered. And Gary, the answer is it's one of those mysteries, not fully, completely understood. Within the Kruger itself, their life expectancy is probably about 5 years old. They're disappearing now into the bushes. And I think they might pop out towards WildEarth main access there. But Gary, one of the big reasons is habitat loss. Habitat loss, and the fact that they do cover such enormous areas means that they need big open territories, which they can't always get out here. Human encroachment is such that these big wide open areas like the one that we're in at the moment are not that busy. Oh, Scott's got them again on the road. Let's pop over there.
So we've just got into position, possibly not the best one because there's a tree in the way, but they are going to come past that shortly and come streaming past our vehicle. Awesome stuff. They've literally just popped onto the road and I've done a quick U-turn and here they all come. This is awesome. Marcia in Oklahoma, you'd like to know if their smell is bad as hyena. Well, their smell is actually far more pungent than that of hyena. And I don't know which is worse. Hyena, I guess around the den sites, it can be quite smelly. Look at how close they are to us. It's as if we're not even here. And I literally could bend over and touch one if I wanted to. I can see the blood all over one's neck underneath its ear here. This is so awesome. Can you believe it? So Marcia, it's a good question, but what is certain is that they smell much stronger than hyena do. Usually went, oh, and I think worse. Now I've just got a real deep inhale of their scent. What are you guys smelling so intently? Surely it's another pack of wild dog that's riling up all this interest in them. Listen carefully, you can actually hear them. Now, other things that they could be smelling are other predators, and Kush has just asked that. What's going on here? Is that a little bit of playful discipline? Yeah, it looks like... Oh! It looks like certainly one is being taught a little bit of a lesson. And it's acting very submissively now. And who knows what that was all about? Absolutely awesome. It looks like a young male. And it seems to be getting a lot of attention. Why? I'm not too sure. But the complexities of their hierarchy and their statuses is going to obviously be difficult for us as humans to read into, unless, of course, we spend day in and day out with the pack. I'm hoping they're going to come across some potential prey, because there still are a few empty bellies. Oh! Good question through from Bob Spoon, and he's interested to know if there's anything that would cause a pack like this to split up. And yes, it's not uncommon for large packs like this to have members break away. It's usually kind of 3 to 5 members that may peel off a large pack and start a pack of their own, or even join up with another small pack. And these are known as dispersal packs. That's the official lingo that is used. But it's not a certain event or act that I know of that will cause them to break up, other than kind of just some feeling the need to move on. Other vehicles have now joined us. They've looped around, and the guests were very, very happy to see wild dogs. I know people that have been on safari to Africa for 10, 15, sometimes even 20 years, and have never laid eyes on these animals. Kay is asking a question that I'm not going to be able to answer entirely easily, and that is whether the Sands pack or the Investec pack may have come from what is called the half-tailed pack. And if my memory serves me correctly, I think the half-tailed pack has actually become the Sands pack. There was a member in the Sands pack with half a tail, and it is no longer. And that is why it has now become the Sands pack. I stand to be corrected, but I think that is the case. Now, it looks like they're all heading straight past Ephraim on Vuatila access towards kind of Sandy Patch area. So, Jamie, it would be useful for her to be in that area. I'm sure she is probably already there. Yeah, if she comes a little bit further south, we're going to stop here, and she'll get a good visual of them heading straight towards her. So over to Jamie.
Here they come, here they come. They're coming straight towards us. We're in a perfect position. The whole pack running up Vuatila main access. Hello guys. Surprise. Now they've all stopped to look at us. What an awesome view. It's actually not often that we get to see them approach like this. You can really get to see how the dynamics work. Adults trotting in the front, babies playing in the back. Here they come. Whole pack trotting coming up towards us. And I know that you had them right up close with Scott earlier. And Mark Rector, you were wondering why it is that they never attack or none of the animals ever attack people on the vehicle. And Mark, I'm going to address that in one moment. I'm going to try and keep my head out of the way so that we can have a look. They're going to walk right in front of us or right down to the side of us. You can see that tight bond. I think that is the alpha pair, actually, that I just saw go past. The closeness of the dynamics. Pups coming up behind us. I should have done a head count while I had the opportunity, but I was so distracted by them all wandering through. And we're going to be coming up to our last few moments with them, and crossing towards Simbambili. So Mark, in terms of the animals, sorry Mark, I just have to do one thing. I have to clap for the VR rig before I turn it off. Just allows us to sync it up when we do come towards putting the videos together for your viewing pleasure. So Mark, the fascinating thing is that the animals become hugely accustomed to the vehicles moving through. So Sabi Sands has been habituating animals to the presence of the vehicles for the last 40 years. And they become very, very comfortable in its presence. It's going to get very, very thick here, guys. I think if Scott could race around, maybe towards Triple M, that's where they're going to pop out. Might not be able to keep up with them through this drainage line. The other aspect is that we have never been on the menu or anything like that for animals, and in fact we've always been seen as a threat. Now when you arrive at a safari lodge, you're always told that the animals see you as a big unit if you're in a vehicle. They don't identify individual people. That to me is not true. Personally, I think the animals are more than bright enough to recognize that there are people within the vehicle. They pick up individual shapes. The only difference is that they don't feel threatened by it. As soon as you break the outline or you put your hands up or you stand up, then it becomes a different sort of reaction to the ones they're used to, and that's why they run away from you if you do. It's not because they didn't realize you were a person in the car. Still with the wild dogs, they're here in front of me. It's just a matter of negotiating without smashing the virtual reality rig. The biggest victims of these wild dog sightings are our poor vehicles that do a sterling job. Oh, we're coming up to Triple M now. Do a sterling job of managing to keep us going. They're coming right up to the main road. They're going to cross into Simbambili. The fun and games. I love wild dog mornings. Now, it's not unheard of for animals to attack people in vehicles. It does happen. Wild dogs is completely unlikely. There they go over here. They're going to cross soon. Oh, let me try and get you a last view. And there they go. Running across into Simbambili. What an awesome morning this has been. But for those of you unfamiliar with our show, we have reached the end of our traverse area. So across there is Simbambili. We can't drive on that particular property. And so that is our last moment with them, unless they suddenly decide to come racing back around. Whew. Mornings like that are absolutely awesome and really exciting, but also quite exhausting. That maniac driving that we do through the bush, trying to keep up with them. Imagine how fit they are. Just waving to some of the other guests. I want to just hop onto the other channel, the other Game Drive channel, and let them know. Sorry, Nikki, I missed that message. Did you say Scott has let them know? Sorry, guys, just double checking we don't pass on the same message, because there's nothing more irritating than the car Tom's backing up. Okay. Well, that is that. Should we go back to the hyena den and see what's happening and if they've relaxed there? What an incredible morning's viewing that has been. We can wrap up this entire story, just bring it round to its final conclusion. And while I make my way there and negotiate the main road that is Triple M, let's hop over to Scott's vehicle.
Well, it doesn't get much better than this morning. It's been one of those really, really memorable safaris. And very happy to hear that Jamie did a good job of staying with him right till the final moment there. Oh, this is a lucky impala. And she's pregnant. Woo! She doesn't realize how lucky she was.